Hi guys, it's Bunny and welcome to today's video and welcome to another WWE reaction. This video is recommended by May and he or she or I don't know what you go with the gender. It's really hard today because you can offend anyone anytime. Alright, he said please react to how Randy Orton went from legend killer to locker room leader by Sportskeeda Wrestling. I've already done a couple of Randy Orton videos. I will leave a link in the description if you are interested, but let's go and see if we can learn a thing or two about Randy Orton. I like Randy, and I think he deserves better. This whole situation with Gunther, we don't like it. The RKOs out of nowhere.
Randy Orton, he's one of the biggest names in WWE modern history, especially this millennium. He has been in the company for more than 20 years, has won championships 14 times at the top level. If it's not legendary enough for you, then I don't know what is. From his beginnings as a brash youngster from a multiple generation wrestling family to his evolution into the feared legend killer, capturing the world championship at the mere age of 24 years old, then morphing into the cunning Viper. Orton's journey has truly slithered beyond some of the expectations that were already pretty high when he broke into WWE. Now established as a true veteran in his own ranks and one who has truly reformed himself outside of the ring, he has truly experienced it all in the world of professional wrestling. But with every iteration of the Apex Predator, we have seen him grow, both as a talent and as a person. I mean, who would have thought that someone like Randy Orton, who used to get into trouble quite a bit in his early days of his career, would become one of the most
young, dumb,
and revered members of the WWE roster. Let's dive into the highs, the lows, and the defining moments that shaped the evolution of Randy Orton, from a rookie sensation to a legend killer to a legend in his own right. The legacy of professional wrestling was coursing through his veins thanks to his father, WWE Hall of Famer Cowboy Bob Orton, and his revered grandfather Bob Orton. Randall Keith Orton seemed destined for the squared circle. But if you asked him, he would have said becoming a pro wrestler maybe at some point in his life was never a part of those initial plans. On the A&E documentary looking at his career, he revealed that early on, when people asked him if he wanted to be a wrestler like his father, he said no, because he didn't have that level of confidence. Not knowing what to do with his life, like many young men, Randy Orton enlisted in the United States Marine Corps after graduating high school. Flying off to California, initially enjoyed being there. It was grueling mentally and physically, but a young Randy was having the best time of his life. According to him, boot camp turned him into a man. But he went on to the fleet training. That's where things started to change. He told some horror stories of having a very grueling experience there that wasn't nearly as positive as boot camp.
A lot of people come back after that with PTSD. It's really tough.
Time when someone pranked him by wrapping him tightly in a sleeping bag, which resulted individually in a panic attack as they sat on top of it. Orton obviously didn't want these things and he wanted to quit, but they did not let him as he signed a contract. So what did he do? He got onto a bus and went home and stayed for 2.5 months there, going AWOL with the military. He took responsibility for his actions, voluntarily turning himself in, and expressed his desire to leave. Randy Orton then started working at a gas station, trying to reevaluate his future. And this is when he started to reevaluate his perspective on the family business, professional wrestling. And he couldn't help but consider the influence of his father's legacy in the industry. And maybe
I wish I knew why he didn't want to immediately go
in the world
into
of wrestling. He asked his father for help, and that is exactly what he did. Cowboy Bob made a call to Bruce Pritchard. And soon Randy Orton's journey in professional wrestling started. It wasn't like Randy always wanted to be a pro wrestler, and he decided to give it a shot because maybe in his perspective, his options were limited. Orton was then shipped off to Ohio Valley Wrestling, the developmental territory of WWE at the time, and the class of recruits there was quite stacked. I mean, headliners of a generation to come in Brock Lesnar, John Cena, Dave Bautista, and of course Orton himself. Orton was the youngest among them and had little to no experience in pro wrestling, but he was a natural and took to it pretty fast. I mean, he was raised around the business as a child. However, as his skills flourished, so did his attitude. Randy Orton said himself, I got to this point where I had this confidence, and with that confidence came this kind of arrogance. And
I mean, to be honest, if you looked like that, of course you would have confidence. And probably with it comes arrogance, egotism, narcissism.
Nature. He wasn't very liked by his peers, largely due to that
Hard
attitude.
to like stay humble.
He had to work on himself to earn their respect. Orton studied the tapes of the greats like Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Arn Anderson, and Pat Patterson, learning a lot from their mechanics and delivery in the ring. He stayed in OVW for around 2 years before WWE called him up for his big debut on television. However, before he made his official debut, he started working on untelevised matches where he really got his boots underneath him. Finally, Randy Orton made his debut in April of 2002 on SmackDown against Hardcore Holly, who beat him. It was evident from the get-go that WWE recognized something special in Orton. The fact that he was involved in a segment with Vince McMahon around the time of his debut proves that they saw something that was there. However, not soon after his debut, he suffered a debilitating shoulder injury. Orton's journey had only just begun when he found himself sidelined. This must have been devastating, and thankfully WWE did not give up on him, as they featured him regularly on television, updating the path to his return. First time he ever came out in that sling with his arm on his shoulder would be about 3 to 4 months. He got booed heavily. That's right, an injured superstar on the mend was getting booed as a villain. He got that Dom Mysterio heat for you young Gen Z fans. Orton's weekly updates on his health got more and more
I'm a millennial fan, but I'm a
Gen
Z fan.
Privileged minutes on television. His natural cocky arrogance helped him establish himself as an obnoxious heel without ever wrestling on television. He had a character built in before the bell rang for his return. Around this time, Triple H was looking for some guys to build a faction around himself. Along with the nature boy Ric Flair, who knew something about putting a group together, Randy Orton fit well within that vision. Upon his return, he joined the group that would be known as Evolution, and the inclusion of Dave Bautista as the muscle of the group finished out their ranks. Being a part of the group was
of the Galaxy is always the muscle of the group.
It would develop both Orton and Batista under the wings of Triple H and Flair. The invaluable guidance they received from these two showed as their careers developed as single superstars in the future. You learn how to become a villain from two of the best villains of all time. Everyone in the WWE production ranks believed in him, and it was a matter of time before Orton took over. Soon, he captured the Intercontinental Championship and developed the Legend Killer gimmick, where he would take out beloved names from the past, and maybe even some of those still present in WWE's ongoing weekly television. He began attacking legends in the business like Shawn Michaels, Jerry the King Lawler, and Sergeant Slaughter. Even Mae Young was at the hands of his legend-killing ways. He was thriving in the role, and it helped the stock of Orton rise quickly and gain credibility that maybe he couldn't get within years, he got within months. Some would claim that this just came out of Randy Orton's natural arrogance. At Backlash 2004, Randy Orton would come into his true form, as he would take on the hardcore legend Mick Foley in his environment, the Hardcore Match. As he was slammed on flesh-ripping thumbtacks, he broke through to another level. It may have been Foley's signature match, but it was Orton's signature victory, maybe the one that would define the early stages of his career and break him through to the next level. After shedding the Intercontinental Championship, Randy Orton would go to the next level, defeating Chris Benoit, who himself recently won the World Heavyweight Championship, to become, at the time, the youngest World Heavyweight Champion in WWE at the tender age of 24
now
years
the
old.
youngest?
Now, he thought his brothers in Evolution would celebrate with him, but on the August 16th episode of Raw that year, they would turn on him. Yes, Triple H, the leader of the group, had a mock celebration only to show him who was truly in charge. The beatdown at the hands of Evolution was supposed to propel Randy Orton into a fighting champion babyface good guy, but not soon after, it just wouldn't click. He would drop the title to Triple H, and plans reportedly for some type of big WrestleMania rematch between the two were off the table. Perhaps his natural persona had him leaning towards a heel in the hearts and minds of fans. He wasn't one you wanted to cheer, but was certainly someone that you would be entertained by, and you would look forward to those dreadful little things he would pull apart on the good guys. And when it came time for him to play the babyface character, fans just didn't buy into it. As Randy's popularity waned, Batista's star soared to unprecedented heights with this, and Randy's position to end Triple H's reign of terror as WWE champion went to the animal Dave Batista instead. Randy began acting arrogantly towards the fans and having arguments with them. He wasn't good for the PR of the company. He wasn't acting
such a heel.
That's who he was.
Yeah,
oh
my God, he loved it.
24-year-old behaving that way, and he gained him fame and fortune sooner than most people in the business. At WrestleMania 21, Randy was supposed to face The Undertaker, and just a few days before
dare you
their
smack
match
The Undertaker?
on Friday, Randy stayed up all night and partied with his friends. Because of this, he wasn't able to make the rehearsal for the match.
No way.
Randy didn't just miss any rehearsal, he missed one with The Undertaker for a WrestleMania match.
Are you kidding
me? A lot of people were
me?
disrespected, but the dead man gave him the pass. As if that wasn't enough of a problem, the night before that epic match with The Undertaker, he had to honor the legacy, the family legacy that got him into the position he was in, inducting his father, Cowboy Bob Orton, into the WWE Hall of Fame. But even at his own confession, Randy says he was not 100% clear-headed when he gave his father a 90-second induction speech. In this same A&E biography, a cameraman can be heard right near Randy Orton asking him to sit up, and he kind of alerted the audience that maybe he just wasn't all there. It's also hard to process this in retrospect because that match at WrestleMania 21 was a show stealer. That's right. Orton was still delivering bell to bell, but his life outside of the ring was the complete opposite. Orton continued to be a menace both inside the ring and outside of it. Around 2006, he was having issues with substance abuse and painkillers, and he was suspended for 60 days for violating WWE's wellness policy in the spring of 2006.
Still have
then was sent off to rehab. Speaking about his suspension on Steve Austin's Broken Skull sessions, Orton said that 60 days happened for reasons, and then during those 60 days, I did some other that kind of landed me in a spot where I needed some help. And I got the help, and I came back, and I still wasn't right. Randy Orton's issues outside of the ring started to pile up. There were stories of him throwing oatmeal at a Cracker Barrel, ripping a urinal off the wall in a bathroom the first time he met Cody Rhodes. During a European tour in 2007, he reportedly drank so much that he found himself passed out inside his hotel room, which looked like it was hit by a tornado. The damages reportedly came to well in the tens of thousands of dollars. WWE made him cover the cost and sent him home for his unprofessional conduct. Randy would receive mentorship from his friends within the locker room. According to Randy himself, Edge helped him a lot when he was dealing with his demons. This must have been around late 2006-07 when they were teaming up as Rated RKO. At least that's what we think. He got back into a position, winning the WWE Championship, and had some of his best rivalries of the Ruthless Aggression era against John Cena. It was during this period that Randy unveiled a more savage persona, introducing his signature move, the punt kick, and even delivered that punt kick to big names like Vince McMahon. When the boss wants to put you over, you still have a strong position in WWE. This new iteration of the character was taken from his real personality. When he was in rehab in 2006, doctors identified signs of anger management problems and traits of a narcissistic personality disorder.
I knew it. Narcissistic. I had a feeling there is some of that in him. When you grow up looking like that and looking so much different than your peers, it is very, and if your parents, for example, always praise you and stuff, you might grow into having some of narcissistic traits. It's very hard to stay humble, but you have to work on humbling yourself and staying humble and not going with the flow of the idea that you are the best because your parents said so, or you literally look better than your peers. There is no denying. But the anger management thing, I have a feeling, and correct me if I am wrong, there is a lot of wrestlers who are really powerful who might have anger management issues. And I don't know if it is the power, the physical power, or the fame that gets into their head. But I have heard a lot of stories, and now I'm thinking, where does that come from? Because, as a gamer, for example, as an FPS gamer, a lot of times people say who don't game, like gaming results into anger issues. You know, you have playing all of these really action-packed bad games make you become violent, which is not true. So I want to see and know if it is the same with pro wrestling or not. That's a topic we can talk about.
In his documentary, Randy stated that he has incorporated these elements into his wrestling persona. The legend killer wasn't meant to last long, and Randy needed to change and adapt and prove an ideal character that could evolve. Fans could sense the genuine intensity and unpredictability that Randy Orton expressed physically in his performances. Knowing this, they stemmed from real-life experiences. It appeared as though Randy Orton was channeling all of those frustrations into his in-ring performances, and as a result, the trouble inside him became trouble for anyone else he was in the ring with.
Yeah.
Orton's villainous persona became even more psychotic and vicious in the ring. His willingness to push boundaries that before had never been broken. His anger spilled over into unscripted incidents, from lashing out at his opponents in the ring to heated confrontations backstage.
No,
Orton's
I'm
real-life conflicts occasionally erupted in front of live audiences. Randy Orton in 2009 would form the trio of Legacy with Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase, two other men who came from wrestling families. The group truly elevated Orton's status as a top heel in the company, but the faction lacked a clear long-term direction and seemingly fizzled out within a year or so. It did turn Orton, though, into a babyface, with Cody and Ted turning on him. And this time, the good guy act would stick a little bit longer. He wasn't getting into trouble all that much outside of the ring. His life was starting to straighten out, and fans were behind him now as he proved himself valuable talent to them and those in the locker room over the years. In 2010, he would win the WWE Championship, this time as a babyface, and had a pretty strong run. In 2011, he would win the World Heavyweight Championship, and that was an amazing feud with Christian. Some really underrated matches there. His character was still the same. He was acting psychotic, but arguably controlling the inner craziness for his performances. And now his targets with the bad guys, and fans love seeing an RKO out of nowhere. Randy Orton was riding high on this success, but in 2012, it was reported by SuperLuchas.net that he was suspended for the WWE wellness violation another time and suspended for 60 days. Reportedly, this was connected to marijuana and performance-enhancing drugs, not so much painkillers. WWE considered releasing Randy Orton reportedly around this time from his contract, but that didn't happen, and Orton came back to the company once more. Randy Orton's second wife, Kim, would play a crucial role in reshaping Randy Orton the Man. In his A&E doc,
always a woman that reshapes a man. Just saying, a powerful woman can make a powerful man.
Documentary, he acknowledged that Kim was a calming influence in his life that helped steer him on the right track once more.
Let's go,
Though her presence was an unwavering point of support, Kim helped Randy confront his demons and embrace a more positive path in life. Moreover, the responsibilities of fatherhood also contributed to Randy's transformation. Welcoming children into his life proved to him that he had a newfound sense of purpose and motivation to leave behind a troubled past. In the past few years, Randy Orton, whether he's been playing a bad guy or a good guy, has shown class. Class in the ring, class outside of the ring. This is that we're seeing right now the best Randy Orton. Remember 2016, Shane McMahon getting knocked out in the Survivor Series? Despite being a villain at the time, Orton, ever the professional, was able to find Shane's children at ringside and calm them while still performing in the multi-man chaos of the match. It's an act that maybe we wouldn't have seen from Randy Orton in the past, or maybe something that whittles down the core of who he truly is. Not that wild man that maybe had gotten him into trouble, but the centered one who's making him the Hall of Famer we're sure he's going to become. Randy Orton's journey in life and in professional wrestling serves as a reminder that no matter how troubled one's past may be, you can always come back stronger than ever and maybe give life an RKO out of nowhere.
Yo, I love this so much. I love the quote at the end. Give life an RKO out of nowhere. Exactly, you guys. You can always change your destiny. All you gotta do is focus and decide to do it and go for it. Give it an RKO. I'm loving this. Firstly, that is such an amazing video. Thanks so much for sharing, and thank you for letting me react to your videos. Randy really matured after getting married and starting a family. His character progression is inspiring. I love seeing that. And unfortunately, it's not like the case that every single person with marriage, family, kids change. A lot of times it ends in divorce and even more problems, because you cannot put your problems as if they are going to be fixed magically once you get a family and kids. No. You have to work on yourself individually in order to be happy with a family and kids. So I would not really putting it as starting a family helped him out. I would say he really decided to do it. He individually focused on fixing himself, and thankfully, probably one of the inspiration and motivation to do so was the fact that he is starting a family. One thing I learned in the military was that the best leaders are people that have made mistakes and persevered regardless. They can help you not make the same mistakes or show you how to overcome them once you have made them. I mean, I would always listen to a person that had an experience in life and figured out how to deal with it than a person who doesn't have an experience in life. So I completely agree with this. We always watch documentaries and stuff about people who went through shiz and then overcame it, because we want to learn how they dealt with the problems and the mistakes and how did they came out victorious after all of that. So that is 100% true, and we appreciate and respect people who do that. But that is it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. Also, check out my Patreon for longer videos and Raw as well as SmackDown recaps on a weekly basis. But that is it. Thanks so much. See you tomorrow with a brand new video. Bye!